And of course, if that's the state we're in, which I believe Jewish fables, pay no heed to Jewish fables. The Bible itself says, Jesus was just rebelling against Jewish teaching. That's what Jesus was doing. He was taking the old Christianity and he was saying, that's not exactly spot on. He was saying, Pharisees, Sadducees, Kohanim, priest class. He was saying that those people, they're not doing it right. They're not participating in the world according to how it's supposed to be, and they're taking, they're pinching chips off the coins, and they're siphoning all that cream from the top. And in my Jewish learning, I've learned that that's the spirit of Judaism. Christianity isn't the spirit of Judaism. It was one stage in it. The spirit of Judaism, said by some of the Jewish leaders I've been educated by, is to continue to question. See, the Jews have a great library of all of their leaders. They have leaders who say one thing and leaders who say the opposite. And they keep both books. They keep both records of both. And they're continually at battle with one another. They're continually in a battle of intellectual warfare and understanding. And unlike everyone else, they listen. Like I listen to some of these leaders, and I talk with many of them. And you know who generally is not actually doing the physical assault on me? You know who generally is opening up their mind to what I have to say and listening to it? A Jewish person. They'll come up, they'll be like, why does your sign say that? And they'll sit there and they'll let me talk. And these other people just like, yeah, you're hateful. You're this and that. Like, get out of here with that. Because they're constantly evolving. So the Bible's saying, my followers who don't, or anyone who comes across this, you don't have to be my follower, follow yourself. Anyone who comes across this, you don't have to believe in the Bible, right? Like, there's so many religions in this world, and that the whole core of this Judaism is not Christianity. It's evolution. Jesus came to give us evolution. The words of Jesus, because I know all the non-Bible believers are like, who's this Jesus guy? We can't even prove he existed. The story of Jesus provides evolution of the Jewish mind, of their attempts to understand what's going on in this world. It was just rebellion against the current religion. That's what Jesus did. Jesus was the Satan of his time. Jesus was the one who came and said, oh no, I'm going to start telling these people what's going on. And I'm going to start telling people, the truth of what I see, even though they're going to kill me for it. Even though they're going to kill me for speaking of it. Because they don't want to hear it. Because they're stuck in their ways. They don't want to change. They don't want to stop sacrificing babies to fire. They don't want to stop invading other nations and take them over. Shit like that. They don't want to stop being this ruling class that sucks the life from everyone else. So Jesus said, enough of this religion. Enough of your Greek mumbo jumbo. Enough of your Pharisaical mumbo jumbo. The planet was created for everyone. When Jesus first came, he spoke to the Jews only. He said, my teachings are for the tribes of Israel only. And so the Goyim came up and one needed healed. And he was like, I'm here for the Jews. And then they said, but I need healed. And so he said, well, enough of this, then I will teach the Gentiles as well. And so he began teaching the Gentiles. See, right there, he's breaking free of the religion. He's breaking free of their control, their mind control through the top of the pyramid. Their everything control. But I got off course there. Fucking. But you want to say God has something to do with this? And man, it's hard to tell what God has nothing to do with, because we've been here before. You ever got that feeling you've been here before? You go somewhere and you get this odd feeling, I've been here before. It's like I've done this before, but I don't remember doing this. We've been here before, right? It's all something that's been done before. It's all been laid out. It's all been pre-planned. Like some people see it as the Matrix, which again are the Jewish leaders giving us insight into what they see. That is the Jewish, they made the Matrix. So put all your faith in that, my friends. Those who want to dive into the Matrix, I would not put all my faith into the story of the Matrix. But if there's one thing you can learn from looking around, it's that every story has this information in it. It's like it's a game. You have to sort it out. It's a very intellectual game. You have to sort it out. And it's like they've purposely left these holes in the game, or a third party, a God, has made it so everyone will put holes in their system so you can see through it, so you can break through it, and not put all your faith in one man or woman. When I say man, I mean both. Whoa, man. Man, you are man. You are mankind. Well, man, you are mankind. It's not sexist to address people as men. You're all human. Mankind. Is mankind probably not as kind as women, right? Probably not. Fucking. But you see all this bad shit, and it scares people into doing even more bad shit. They're like, mask up, suffocate or die. Fucking, there's just so many holes in this COVID hoax. But there's so many good things too. And you got to try to focus on good shit in this world. You start focusing on that negative and it will destroy you. It will eat at you. That seems to be Alex Jones' method there, to get you to focus on negative and bad. And then now you're filled with the evil energy, the dark energy that Alex Jones is given to. And, kudos to you if you can control the dark energy, which I don't think you can. But you can see the fruits of Alex Jones through his followers. And I could see it through myself. Let me not discuss other people. Let me discuss myself. I know myself. I could see the fruits of Alex Jones. People started distancing themselves from me around that time. People started disliking me. I started disliking what was coming out of me. And I could see that was there is a little bit of misleading. It was definitely there to hype people up and make them look stupid as a final solution. And then in the end, you have to question everything he's told you because of the fruits he has planted are not that great. And so you're like, if the fruits aren't that great, what about the nutrients? Or maybe the nutrients we put into it are bad. Maybe we salted the earth over here and we've destroyed this soil because the fruits are bad. Maybe we planted bad seeds because the fruits are bad. Maybe we didn't provide it with a with enough nurturing, because emotional stability and inclusion and the proper emotions. Exactly up Alex Jones' line of deception. And yeah, it's hard to control yourself when you're being woke up and shit. You're being like smacked the fuck around and all that shit. So there's all sorts of excuses. But you gotta look at the good and everything, right? You got to. It's there. It's there. The good can be found in everything. And if you find that, you can live a bit of a stable life. I used to not really see bad. And the terror I was, there was no consequence for the terror I was because I didn't see it as bad yet. I wasn't, I hadn't bitten the fruit. I hadn't bitten into the apple of knowledge yet. I didn't understand yet. I didn't see things. Something about a children and a youth's mind. It's not formed properly. It's still being created. The society around it creates it, or lack thereof. So you can find this good in everything. And we're focusing on the bad. And then that leads to focusing more on bad. We're focusing, the Arabs are doing this again. The Arabs, a couple Arabs killed another couple Arabs. We got to go kill them to stop them. You see how that works? Like, you're focusing on the bad there, and you're moving on to a pattern of badness yourself. You're taking on the pattern of badness yourself. And I think if everyone just stepped back from this COVID hoax for a moment, who am I talking to? I'm probably talking to people smart enough to see through this hoax, right? If everyone just steps back from the COVID hoax, we're being shown, we're being educated. See, the education of this world is so much more powerful than anyone can think of. Any of y'all. When your militaries, the Roman military wasn't shit without the flanks. There wasn't shit without the circle formation. There wasn't shit without the education on these formations and the education on how to temper metal, how to temper fucking armor, how to temper swords. There wasn't shit without that. Even in these fields lacking intelligence, they're completely dominated by intelligence. When you're like a good killer and you go into the military, you're not gonna end up being the fucking general and shit. If that's all you got to offer, the general he's a tactician, he's a strategist. And below him, he's got several people who he probably views is smarter than him to help him not make mistakes, to help him formulate things. Who created these drones? Who created these fucking bombs? Look at Einstein. Does Einstein look like a fucking soldier? Does he look like some sort of warrior? Oppenheimer, pals, all these people, do they look like fucking they're the most deadly warriors on earth? Yet they are, aren't they? They are. So when you look at things, you can choose how to look at them. And you got to step back and give yourself some time to think before you let your emotions control everything. This COVID hoax has people fucked in their head. And it has them enslaving each other. It has them fucking calling to kill each other more than ever. This is all passive-aggressive fucking death techniques people are using. Put on mask, choke yourself out. Put on the mask or else we're going to kill you. Put on the mask or else we're going to enslave you. Oh, you're going to kill everyone if you don't put a mask on for me. It's all your fault. Emotional blackmail. You have all this negative coming from people who are only viewing the negatives of everything. And I said from the start, man, this COVID thing, it's begun to make people see. It's begun to open people's eyes up. How many people before 2020 were able to mention anything about shadow governments, or there might be someone in control? There might be a George Soros out there. There might be a collapse coming. No one would speak of that pre-2020. Now it's out in the open. Now everyone has been illuminated. Now you've all been educated. And there's no excuse. There's so much positivity that has come from COVID. There's so much positivity I see out here in these riots and protests. There's so much potential that can be gained from this stuff. And instead, most people are going back to their old fucking tricks of just focusing on the bullshit to continue to further their wanton lust for greed and blood. And that's what it is. I see greed, blood, power. People view these as status symbols. Maybe power is a bit of a status symbol. But greed and lust for blood, I'm just not seeing those as status symbols. I never have. You conquer someone, you're so great, this and that. Never seen it that way. The empire itself attempts to conquer without bloodshed. Now, of course, they know that bloodshed is their best and their main tool. But just like the world worships America right now, America could step back and be like, well, we're just not going to be involved. Or they could have pre-2020 and just step back and said, you know what, we're not going to put our nose up everyone's business. You guys like us enough, we can benefit from this. In fact, we could even retire as an empire and still be in a powerful position to benefit. But now they just want more. They view everything as negative. Oh, if we lose a little bit of control, it'll be so negative. Oh, if we start to act like better people, they'll see our weakness. They'll see our weaknesses. And then they'll come after us. Now, if we stop trying to corral and oppress all these people, they'll see us as weak now. We've gained so much through might. The bottom line is, you look at all this shit, you look at all the stuff that's going on, and all I'm seeing is everyone is seeing negative. And I'm seeing the positives. I'm seeing the positives. 2020 is the year that God has opened everyone's eyes and given them the decision what to do with it. There's no more excuse for fucking being ignorant. There's enough information out there now, even with all the stuff they've been erasing. No point in looking into the past where we might have not been the heroes when we fucking convinced the world that we are heroes. No point in looking at all that. A lot of that's been erased anyways. We can't look at that. The greatest story never told. Can't have a second opinion on that. It doesn't matter. We're being shown today. We're being shown every day. We were being shown last week. We were being shown in January. We were being shown in February. We were being shown in March. Enlightenment, truth, and knowledge. By what means? People are like, oh, well, COVID's bad because it's killing people. Well, was you bad for killing people the year before? Did you ever stop and say, hey, I'm sorry? I'm sorry, God. Sorry I participated in that. I'm sorry I wish for those people to be dead. I'm sorry I wish that we could extract revenge on these people. I'm sorry, that I was part of that I contributed to that, no matter how small it may have been in my mind, or how off kilter. I think that's one of the things a lot of these people fear. They fear admitting they've ever done wrong. And that's not going to lead to a good life. That's not going to lead to a good life. No one's going to like you. You'll have servants. You'll have people who work under you. You'll have a lot of fake friends. They aren't going to like you. Because it's just that whole attitude. And I think these attitudes and these emotions are all tied together. You open the door for one or two of them, and the others are just like, hey, we come with the deal. We come with the package. But I think we're being given options in 2020. Everyone's being shown that things are being controlled and the world ain't what it seems. And everyone's being given the option to think for themselves. To some extent, I understand there might be a lot more people out here thinking, but our posts are being removed. Okay. More people are seeing this. The liberals are saying they're being banned from Facebook. The Republicans have been saying they're being banned from Facebook. What the fuck are you guys out here in the streets killing each other for? If you got so much shit in common, why are you guys focusing on the negative, what you don't have in common, the problems you have with each other? Why aren't you, hundreds of millions of you coming together against this small elite that controls you and is clearly doing this stuff to you, right? It's because they're telling you not to come together. The same people you're saying is censoring you is telling you not to come together. You're being given a chance. You're being given education and knowledge. You're being given lots of chances. We've issued free money in 2020 to the people. We're on our way to collapsing the banks. There's a lot of people going to be debt-free here soon. Blame COVID. See what I'm saying? Seeing these positives coming through. Make it happen. Make the world you want happen. I started these politics because I seen me, and then I didn't really care about me. I seen people around me being manipulated and robbed by the system, and I was like, man, we got to repay this. These old people can't have their houses stolen from them. These old people built this motherfucking nation. They deserve everything in this nation. They deserve everything in this nation. We treat them like shit. We let the government rob them. We don't care. It's me, me, me. And I said, enough of this shit. I said, we're going to start taking from this higher up class, and we're going to give back to the people. So over the politics, I learned it's probably rigged. And you ain't going to become president in this situation without revolution. Unless you're the leader of the revolution, you ain't going to be the next president unless you're put in place by them. So what can I do now to give money back to the people who are being robbed? What can I do? Going back to the start of this video, I discussed how I used to abuse systems, see holes in the algorithms and flaws and exploits. I could just exploit tear the shit out of. So I began putting all that shit to use. And I can't talk of my life. I can't talk of things in my life. I can't talk of anything. And that's fine. I'm not out here to brag that I've done something so much different generally. I'm not out here to brag or get credit for a lot of what I've done. It'd be nice, but that's not the goal. The goal is to achieve the goal, not to achieve an ego. Not to definitely not to achieve fame. The goal, although the fame would bring everything else in line. So it's kind of like, working hard to get a goal accomplished. If you have to work hard for it, maybe you don't like the work, but you get to the goal. So like, the work could be me allowing myself to get famous and shit like that to achieve the goal, which is not fame. To achieve the attention and respect of other people, so they could listen to what I have to say and the things I offer. Make a decision for themselves if it sounds better than what these other people are saying and offering, which it would. There goes the ego. But you got to realize at one point in this world who you are, and you've got to stand with that. And it gives you a little bit of ego. Oh well, the people I know who are the successful people in this world, they have a little bit of ego because they know what's gotten them where they're at is some of the best there is, and that's how they got there. But I took these algorithms, I took all those exploits I used to use in systems, and I do a little Robin Hood thing every now and then, maybe a little more than that. And I'm not going to discuss that. We all know that Robin Hood was a criminal. Robin Hood took his skills and he did what he did with them. He gave back to the people. He would siphon the gold from the Mr. Burns, the Smithers, the overburdened with gold king, and he was a criminal. He lived on the run. He was the most wanted man in Nottingham. Is that a different story? Hard to get them all straight sometimes. Sherwood Forest is where he lived, right? And it was Nottingham he would rob to give to the people, right? So I started thinking that I'd be able to change this stuff through politics. And then along the way, I just learned that those skills I was given, that I used to only see negative in, those skills turned into a tool where I give back to people. Where I live on the streets now. Some call it living in a car. The street, if I had a street I could live on, it might be more comfortable. I might have a place to live where I can actually sleep and stretch out and not have joint problems from sitting in a fucking bucket seat when I sleep. Fucking shit like that. There isn't really no place to live on the streets. It's like you'll get fucked by these cops and shit. And I don't want to be around people. I go out to the country and the farmers come up to you and they're like, "What are you doing on my land?" And it's like, "Oops, sorry." And they realize these miles and miles of land with no one on it are being watched by someone who actually owns them. Fucking, so it's hard. But it's the same thing. That's all I'm getting at. Fucking, and I'm still doing this, right? I'm still playing Robin Hood. I couldn't do it politically, but I can do it with my skills. I can do it with my life. I can do it with the things I've been trained to do. And it sets me up for a big loss to do it too, just like Robin Hood. But what is it that you've ever done when you've had a goal in life, when you where you weren't taking risks, Maybe some of us are just taking bigger risks. I could fail. I could fail really hard. I could, I could have shit happen. Mistakes were made. Things could come of stuff you don't really want to. Trying to move forward. But I still do it. It benefits me. It benefits everyone around me, which benefits me. And it benefits the world in whole, which benefits everyone. And I have all these methods which derive from negative things, supposed negative skills I learned as a kid. And I've just, sharpened that arrow, and I'm redirected where I'm aiming it at. And I put those tools to use in good situations. Whereas before, I viewed all that stuff as negative. Oh, negative could come out of this. Oh, that's a negative thing. Everyone's busy telling me, oh, that's negative. I don't want to mention any sort of specifics. But I took those negatives and I viewed them in a positive light. And I said, how can I help people with this skill set? This is my skill set. Y'all know how to, fix plumbing better than I do. Y'all know how to lay electrical better than I do. Y'all know how to repair pistons in an engine and bore the cylinder holes a lot better than I do. So I say, what am I, just useless to this world? And then, God shows me no. Those aren't negative skills. Those aren't negative things in your life. Those are tools. Those are tools you can sharpen and redirect towards positive things, towards achieving the goals you've already set out to achieve. And you didn't even realize I was providing you with those skills all along to eventually use that. Why did I live a life of hell in the middle of fucking fire? Because, son, I need you. I need someone forged in flames to come forth. I need people like that. There's none of you left.